What's up guys, it's Rowan here from Artismart TV, and in this video I'm going to share with you 3 hacks that you need to know to help you read your prescribed English text quickly but also constructively and critically, so that when it comes to writing your essay, you can write your essay more quickly and also increase the sophistication and quality of it to the next level. So let's be honest, right? English is one of those subjects that often we love to hate, and if you're not a big fan of English, the thought of having to read a fat book is just going to be particularly off-putting. Now, even if you love English though and enjoy reading, we don't really get taught how to read a book that is going to make it easier for us to read it, or how to read it constructively and critically. I think there's an assumption that if you know how to read, you can read the book, but that doesn't mean that you can read it well. And ultimately, reading your prescribed text is so incredibly important because it's going to help you get that depth of understanding that's required to really help you write an essay that's going to move you into that 90% plus results. So let's find out the 3 hacks you need to know to help you really transform how you read your prescribed texts and transform the quality of your essay writing. So hack number 1. The key actually to reading your English text quickly and constructively begins before you even start reading your English text. That's right. There's actually some key things you can do before you start reading that will significantly speed up the time and the quality of your reading. So, what is it? Fundamentally, what we want you to do is before you start reading your text, go and find the essay question or the type of assessment or exam you're likely to get for this particular text. So for example, it might be an essay that you're needing to write. Go and look at past essay questions that your school or your teacher has provided or you can access. This will give you a good sense of what they're expecting you to do with the text that you're reading, and that's important. For example, as you look at these questions, it may be that context is really important and they want you to have a strong understanding of context. It may be that the questions are focused on characters and how characters develop or respond to issues or other characters within the text. It may be that the focus is actually very much on ideas or themes and they're wanting you to look at certain ideas, power, love, loyalty, greed, whatever it might be in the text. It could also be that they're wanting you to look at how the text compares to another text. And so therefore then you might be looking at some of the lenses of characters and ideas and themes as well, or context. You might need to do a little bit more work there. But the point is that will give you a really good sense of, okay, what, when you read the text, do you need to be looking for? So for each one of these, what we would recommend is if it's context, before you go and read the text, go and read up about the context of the author and the time the book was written or the text was written, and build a bit of a picture up of that. Because once you have that and a little bit of, some cheat sheet notes, when you read the text, you're going to be able to more easily match what the context is and how it relates. And that's what we're going to unpack in step 3. If, for example, it is, like an essay that's wanting you to talk about ideas and themes, actually spend the time before you read the text to map out what some of those ideas and themes are that you might need to be looking at. So then once again, when you read the text, you already know what you're looking for. So write them down. What's the list of ideas or themes that you could be expected? If it's characters, and there's particular characters that the essays want you to focus on, make sure you know who those characters are. Because once again, when you're reading the text, those are the characters we need to pay more attention to. So that's hack number 1. It's actually the prep work you're going to do before you read the text. And what that really essentially is all about is starting with the end in mind. Starting with what you're going to need to do with the text, and then we're going to work backwards from this point. So now that you've identified what you're looking for when you're reading the text, you're still faced with the reality that you've got to read the book. And you might be looking at it going, oh wow, this has got over 250 pages in it. I don't know where to start. I feel overwhelmed. And so the simplest suggestion we have to how to read a book like this is to look at the total number of pages in the book. So let's say it's got 250 pages. Then sit back and go, well, what's a daily page amount that I could comfortably read that's not going to be overwhelming, that's not going to take me loads of time, but it's something that I can actually get done. So for example, let's say that's 10 pages, because it's going to make the maths a little bit easier right now. So if it's 10 pages a day, that might take you 20 minutes, 25 minutes on the tops, which is really not a huge commitment. You can do that in one Pomodoro sitting. Now, if you don't know what a Pomodoro is, we'll link below one of our resources and articles that will explain what a Pomodoro is. Now, once you've done that, you then look at, well, okay, if I'm reading 10 pages a day and it's 250 pages, it's going to take me 25 days to read this book, which is just under a month. It's just a little bit over 3 weeks. And so that's really powerful because all of a sudden you now have a plan for how to read the book that's not overwhelming, where you're having to sit there and go, I'm going to have to read 200 pages today to cram through it because I haven't read it yet and I have an assessment coming up. It's actually just by simply breaking it in to a chunk at a time, a day by day, we can take a fat book and make it achievable for you to read in less than a month, which is incredibly powerful. So hack number 3, now that you're reading your text and you've done the pre-work where you've identified the end in mind, right? Whether or not you need characters or themes or ideas or context, as you're reading the text, you want to have some colored post-it notes. And every time you read the book, what you want to then do is get a post-it note and attach it in a relevant page when something appears. And what is that something? Well, for example, if you were needing to write an essay at the end for this particular unit and this text that was a thematic approach, where you needed to look at ideas, right? Whether or not it was power, love, loyalty, greed. As you're reading the book, every time you see something that relates to a particular idea, let's say power, you would get a particular colored post-it note that is the color you've assigned to power, and you would post-it note it in that page. And then as you would read the book, you would continue to use the different post-it notes for the different ideas. Now what that means is at the end of when you finish the book, you've then got this wonderful color-coded book that gives you with quick reference all of the examples throughout the book that relate to the theme or idea of power, or relate to the idea of loyalty or greed or love, or whatever it is that you need to focus on. Now, the reason this is really powerful is when you then go to write your essay, you're not scrambling to find examples from the text, right? What you can incredibly easily do is go, great, I need to go and find lots of examples for theme love. Great, I can easily find them really quickly. And so it's going to massively speed up the time it takes you to then write your essay. Now, the same applies if it was a character. You would use the post-it note whenever there's a key scene that the character's involved in or they say something meaningful or important. Equally, if it was, like context and you're needing to focus on the contextual influences, you'd also have a color code post-it note for any part in the book that is important from a contextual perspective. And so this is the final and third hack to help you really read the text constructively and critically, right? It's about actually using these post-it notes to mark it up in a way that aligns with the next step, which is actually writing the essay, where you're going to need to go back to the text and mine it for all of these examples. So all in all, 3 simple hacks that are going to make a huge difference in your ability to read that text quickly and constructively to improve the quality of your essays. Let us know in the comments below if you have any questions. Let us know if you've got any other hacks or tips or tricks that you would recommend that you've found really helpful in reading your prescribed texts for English. Otherwise, if you need any support for English, get in touch with the team at ArtistSmart. We've got incredible teachers, tutors, and mentors that can help you understand the texts, understand the ideas and the themes and the characters, and really help you craft those killer essays that will get you that 90% plus result that you might be working towards. Head over to artistsmart.com.au or just leave a comment below and we can share more info with you. Otherwise, all the best reading your prescribed texts for English.